Hello everybody, Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. This is gonna be an account takeover for L'Italiano. A couple of months ago we've done an account takeover, a new clan boss team, and we were using ally attack champions. We have no counter attack on this account. We didn't have any champions to be able to do any sort of unkillable, so what we used before was Skratch, Minaya, Lenakis the Chosen, Steel Skull, and Vizier. We kind of changed a bit of the champions there. We didn't use lifesteal, we used stalwart gear on most of the champions, and we purely relied on heals from Minaya and from Steel Skull. Minaya's shield was pretty good overall. The only problem with this team was not 100% reliable, so the highest damage we got with the team was almost 35 million damage. I think it was 34.9 million damage if I remember it right. And the lowest was around 25 million, averaging a bit under 30 million damage. So we were not too happy with that overall because it wasn't consistent enough, the damage. Now, running teams with ally attack champions without having some crazy support champions, it doesn't make it too consistent overall because some of the champions, they might get out of sync. Like if you're using Lenakis the Chosen, for example, she's gonna get extra turns, is something you cannot control, and if you leave it on full auto, at some point she's gonna get extra turns, she's gonna lose the buffs, no ally protection, no defense up, and she's gonna die way too early and cripple the team. So now that we revisited the account, what I'm building here, what I actually built already because it's done the team, is the 1 Maneater and 1 Pain Keeper unkillable comp. We managed to actually get it to 2 key without using a Draco. We are using a Vizier in there. We are using a Frozen Banshee, Resin, Maneater, and of course Pain Keeper. That's what we need for this team overall to work. I'm gonna show you the total stats on them, and while we're actually running the clan boss, I'm gonna explain you the first few things that you gotta pay a lot of attention when you're building the team. It's super important to have the right amount of HP, defense, and I'm not gonna say about speeds because that's 100% a must, but it's super important to follow the HP and the rest of the stats. If no, the team can get out of sync, to say like this. The stun is not gonna go on the right champion, and your team is gonna fail pretty early. So we're gonna start with the fastest champion in the team. We have a Maneater right here on 3 speed sets. Total stats on him, we have 38k HP, 2.4k attack, 2.8k defense, 252 speed, 77 crit rate, 163 crit damage. I wish I would bump that crit rate up to 100%. Now HP on him, you can have around 37k HP, 38k HP, it works perfectly fine. As much attack as you can, a lot of defense as well, so it's super important for him to have crazy defense. I mean crazy, not that crazy, but 2.8k defense is a good place to be. 252 speed, it works 251. I think 250 should be still alright, I haven't tried it, but as long as you're staying in this range, 1+1, -1, it should work without a problem. Now, we did give him a bit of crit damage. I think we have a defense amulet on him, and defense ring as well, and we have an attack banner, crit damage gauntlet, and we have attack chest piece. So I tried to balance them as much as I could. He doesn't have the craziest gear, so I wasn't able to actually get a 100% crit rate on him. Masteries, we have offense and defense 3. We have War Master as tier 6, nothing too crazy on the masteries. We have a retribution. Keep in mind, if you are running masteries on your champions, do not run rejuvenations because that can actually screw over the stun. So this mastery, we actually discovered it from mistake because the team was kind of failing for me for a bit and I wasn't sure why, and one of the champions had this mastery on. So it says increase the amount of healing and the value of shield buffs this champion receives by 5%. Now this mastery is incorrect. The actual amount of healing and probably shield as well that the ally that gets healed receives is 20%. So let's just say my Pain Keeper heals for a 12k HP. He will be getting here 2k extra healing from this mastery, so that can screw you over. So you gotta be super careful with that. Do not use that on your stun eater because that will kind of throw it out of sync and he's not gonna get stunned anymore. So that's the masteries on him. I show you the gear. We're gonna move to the second fastest champion, which is Pain Keeper in the team. Now with Pain Keeper, we had a bit of an issue. Even though she had more HP, she was healing for more. Once the champions, they get low, they all get to the same amount of HP, because they're on 0 practically. The Unkillable keeps them up. So when she heals with the skill, everybody gets on the same line. Okay? So what I had to do with her, because even though she has on masteries, we do have a life drinker, was just not enough to actually give her that extra heal to make sure she doesn't get stunned. So what I've done with her, I gave her an immortal set. So that time, every time she gets a turn, she's gonna heal for a bit. And especially on the most important turn, which is the stun, where she's getting 2 turns, she's gonna heal enough to ensure that no matter what, she will not receive the stun. So that's a very good way to actually sort that out, and don't worry about the stun on her anymore. So we have 2 speed sets, 1 immortal set. Total stats on her, we have 53k HP, 51k, 52k works perfectly fine, 1.7k attack, 2.1k defense only. I wish I would get the defense a bit higher. 2.3k, 2.4k would be absolutely amazing. 241 speed. Now I haven't played with the speed around, so I can't tell you if 242, 243 it works. On books, it should work, it's in the same threshold, but I'm not 100% sure. We have 102 crit rate, 79 crit damage, no resistance, no accuracy, that's not important at all, 1.7k attack. So we have 252 speed, 241 so far. Now, you could run her probably at being the second lowest HP and make the stun target to be the highest HP. I haven't played around with that, to be honest, to tell you if it's gonna work 100% or no. But like this, I can guarantee you 100% that you won't be having issues. If you're following all the steps that I'm telling you, you won't be having issues on the stun. And it's gonna work like a charm. Now, masteries on her, you really gotta avoid getting Retribution. That's gonna throw everything out of sync because of the turn meter she gains from her A1. Do not run her with counter-attack champions because it's gonna happen the same thing again. Now, on the support tree, I try to avoid the Cycle of Magic, super important to avoid it. Anything that affects turn meter. I didn't took Lore of Steel, I don't need it, so I'm not 100% sure if it can actually affect the way the team runs. Other unkillable teams that I've run and I made, Lore of Steel was affecting all the rotation because it was not calculating the exact speed. So I'm not sure here if it's gonna be the same issue. But yeah, you gotta have her fully booked. Everything except the A1 needs to be fully booked on Pain Keeper. Maneater needs to have his A3 fully booked, the rest doesn't really matter. Then we have a Resin right here and Vizier that are at the same speed. I wish I could get the Vizier 1 speed lower, but not having any speed glyphs is actually pretty hard to get it working. So total stats on him, we have 32k HP, 3.2k defense, 189 speed, 99 crit rate, 164 crit damage, 263 accuracy. Getting 1 more K defense on him will actually be absolutely insane. Damage-wise will be super good. We have a crit damage gauntlet, defense chest piece, speed boots. We have him on 2 accuracy sets and a broken set actually. The speed, how you guys saw, 189 is the 3rd fastest in the team. Masteries, typical counter attack from the defense tree, and we have Giant Slayer for tier 6. Life Drinker again is super important to get it on the first 4 champions to make sure they get a bit of extra heal so they don't actually get the stun. The 4th fastest in the team is Vizier right here. So he's again 32k HP, 2k defense, 2.8k attack, 189 speed, 97 crit rate, 139 crit damage, 245 accuracy. So how you guys can see, we don't have the craziest gear overall to be able to give them like 200 plus crit damage, crazy amount of attack, and maintain the same amount of stats on the rest. We have a crit rate gloves here. We have attack chest piece which actually needs to be max. We have speed boots, accuracy banner. We have crit damage gauntlet, amulet, sorry, and a defense ring. So again, he needs to have a bit of a defense as well. We don't want him to get a stun either. Masteries, Giant Slayer, counter attack. This is something I haven't changed from the previous team. How I said, Life Drinker, super important to get it on him as well. I think he is fully booked as well. That's up to your preferences if you want to book him, if you have the books or you don't. And the last champion is Frozen Banshee. She's the stun eater. So she needs to be on a very, very specific build overall. We have her on 2 accuracy sets and a broken set. Total stats on her, we have 41k HP. So here it works, 41, 42k HP. I haven't tried her in between, so I can't guarantee if it's gonna work or no. We have 1.9k attack, 1.7k defense. She needs to be the lowest defense, as low as possible, and it will be work fine. 122 speed, 123, 124, it works 100%. 88 crit rate, 106 crit damage, 263 accuracy. Masteries on her. We have offense and we have the defense tree. We have War Master on tier 6, but we do not have Life Drinker. Super, super important. Do not get Life Drinker on the Stun Eater, because she will heal a bit more and that can cause another champion to actually get a stun. Counter attack on the defense tree, of course. We did have Rejuvenation on her and that kind of screwed us over. So that's where we discovered that the Mastery doesn't actually heal only for 5. It actually does for 20. Right, so we've seen the champions, guys. So now we can actually go into a clan boss run. Now, I haven't made a video on this comp. Probably a lot of you guys are familiar with it, but these are my steps on it, how to actually make it work. We're 2keying it. So the way you start the rotation here, you want to place Unkillable with Maneater. You're going to use A3 with Pain Keeper here. You will be uncovered for just a bit, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, how I said, unfortunately, they're at the same speed, so I really got to get Vizier a bit slower than Resin. Preferably 1 speed, and that should sort out the problem to make Vizier go after Resin. Up to you what sort of skills you use on the rest of the champions. Depends what champions you have in the team. So you're not gonna use the Painkeeper's A2 right here. You want her to use that on the stun, so actually everybody gets to heal and brings them up in the line. So this comp works the way it works because of heal manipulation and controlling the stun in that way. So Painkeeper is super, super, super important here. I don't think there's any other champion that can make this work the same way. Manipulating that heal is super, super important. So how you guys can see here, we have everybody pretty low. Now, one thing that it can actually happen, Maneater, if he doesn't have enough defense, he's gonna get lower and he actually gets the stun, which is super, super annoying. So you guys gotta make sure you give him enough defense to run through that. So he's gonna get 2 turns here. We should be able to leave it on full auto from here, but I'm gonna manual a few more turns actually with because of Vizier here. I want him to actually make more damage. It's kind of annoying, Vizier. He does have pretty high chances of actually extending the debuffs, multiple hits, but sometimes he just doesn't want to do it. He's like, no, I'm not gonna do it now. I don't want to extend nothing for you. So it's pretty annoying. Sometimes you actually gotta pause it, manual a couple of turns to make sure he's using the A1, because how we have Painkeeper as well decreasing the cooldowns, it actually makes it a bit harder, because he's gonna get to use his A2 and A3 more often. So it's a bit annoying to say like this, but we cannot really complain about having a Vizier in the team. So everything works like a charm, how you guys can see. Let's throw in more poisons. Please extend them, because I don't want to manual all day long. Thank you. So Maneater again, he's gonna get his extra turn here. We place that Unkillable again. Soon we're gonna start to lose a lot of HP on everybody, and then everything is gonna get back on sync. We decrease that cooldown again with Painkeeper using the A3. Once I click auto, I'm gonna start to go in more depth and talk about other issues that you can have with this comp. Now, for different affinities, it's kind of important to have specific champions. If you have a Frozen Banshee like here, this comp works on Void, works on Magic, works on Force with using the same stun target. The reason for it, we're not using a Spirit champion in the team, so we don't have to worry about Magic. And Force, we have the Magic champion to eat the stun, so he's always gonna get the stun, so we don't have to worry about that either, which is actually awesome. We covered 3 affinities out of 4 just by using this team, so I think it's a pretty good job overall. So now from here on, we're actually able to click auto. Hopefully he's gonna get a few counter attack hits in here, extend the debuffs more so we don't have to actually stop and manual at all. Now, so how I said with this team, defense is super important. That can be an issue, the wrong champion to get the stun. Upgrading your Great Hall can create you issues in the long run, so upgrading too much HP or too much defense on some of the champions, overall, it might result in having to adjust the stats of your team, because if no, you will be having issues and other champion will actually get with the stun. How I said, you might be able to build Frozen Banshee being the highest HP, like let's just say you give Frozen Banshee 47k HP and you give Pain Keeper lower HP. Now, in theory, that should work. I've seen Deadwood Jedi actually made a video, he made it that way, and it actually worked. Now, the reason with that is because, how I said, at some point, every single champion is gonna get to 0 HP after the hits, and then they gonna self-heal with Life Drinker, and Pain Keeper is gonna heal all of them. But as long as you make sure that that Frozen Banshee doesn't have the Life Drinker on it, and she will be the lowest HP on the line once Pain Keeper heals, that's what should affect the stun. So that's what should guarantee you that the stun still goes on Frozen Banshee, even though she's the highest HP and Pain Keeper is lower. Like how you guys saw just here, the difference in HP is super minimal. If I wouldn't have that Immortal set on Pain Keeper, she would have gotten the stun there. So that would actually make the team wipe and will create us problems. Now, how we have my poor Vizier here doesn't seem to do a great job at extending, so I'm just gonna give her a couple of manual turns here to make sure he's actually extending those poisons. It's pretty annoying, how I said, like sometimes he just doesn't want to extend at all. I don't know why. We got that counter. Let's hit him another time with the A1 and hopefully he's gonna do his job properly from there. There we go. So, I love unkillable teams. Probably you guys noticed that I have on my channel almost all of them. Now, Maneater is definitely my favorite champion to build an unkillable team with. Having those block debuffs is absolutely insane. To don't have to worry about affinities, don't have to worry about all those debuffs that the clan boss lands on you, is super good. Now, I wish on his account he will actually pull a second Maneater, build him the double Maneater comp. That would be super good. He won't have to worry about spirit, he won't have to worry about keeping a champion slow here to either stun, etc. But this team as well can deal serious damage if you have the right champions for it. So if I would have here, instead of Resin for example, I would have a Draco. Instead of Frozen Banshee, I would use somebody else that does something crazier, like some sort of super hard hitter, a Brachus for example. That could work amazing as well. We get a Brachus in here, we get attack up, Maneater is gonna deal more damage, Pain Keeper is gonna deal more damage, Vizier is gonna deal more damage, and Draco instead of Resin is gonna deal more damage. We're still not gonna be able to one-key it, so this is not a one-key comp 100%. I don't know how many of you guys saw the video with 2 Maneaters when I actually one-keyed Ultra Nightmare without using the Barrier comp. So it was literally 2 Maneaters, Vizier, Draco, and Brachus, 72 million damage, 73 million damage. They're crazily good for unkillable comps. Super important. How many of you guys are actually running this comp? I know how I said the comp is not new, is nothing new here. It's been quite a while since the comp came out, but I've done an account takeover. I didn't have this on my channel. A lot of you guys ask me about it when I'm streaming or stuff like that about this comp. So, like, this is easier for you guys to find it out as well. Not everybody saw it out of all my subscribers, probably. So, hopefully you guys will enjoy it. But how I said, super important to maintain the stats. No Life Drinker on the Stun Eater. You can use a Stun Eater any champion that you want, as long as it's not a high defense champion. Like, I tried using Resin, I kind of missed the part that he needs to get low, and it didn't work. So after one run, I realized the mistake that I've done, so I changed Resin, I put Frozen Banshee instead. But any attack champion that has low defense, you can use him as the stun target. Now, if you're going on Spirit, you can actually use, instead of Frozen Banshee, a different champion, like an Eotar, for example. Eotar works amazing as well. He deals super good damage, especially that he gets the decreased cooldown from a Pain Keeper, he will use the A2 more often. On Giant Slayer as well, he can be super good. So I always run my AOTAR on unkillable teams on Giant Slayer. It's an actually damage improvement. Some of you mad guys here might say it's not true, but trust me, it is. I run him for months on War Master, I run him for months on Giant Slayer, and it's definitely an improvement in damage, especially if you have a counter-attack champion in there as well, is even better. Of course, you cannot run counter-attack in this comp, so seems like we lost the Poison Seers. I'm not gonna bother with it. I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. Probably we're gonna lose another wave of Poisons there, but doesn't really matter. We already got pretty serious damage, turn 41, 31.5 million damage, so it's not bad at all. But how you guys can see, seems like Pain Keeper, even though she has Life Drinker in, she might not hit a War Master, but with the damage she deals, because she doesn't deal, how I said, crazy damage, we don't have crazy gear to give them like 200 plus crit damage. Life Drinker is just not enough for her to bring her on higher HP than a Frozen Banshee, and she's gonna get a stun. So if you have the chance to give her an Immortal set, just do it, it's gonna help you a lot. If no, try to give her a different sort of set that actually heals. If you can actually get the speed up, there are not many in there. Having lifesteal on some of the champions doesn't hurt you at all, but you want her to have the HP that is required so she doesn't get stunned. I actually, till I realized the mastery that was wrong, and till I realized what the actually mastery was doing, I was kind of stressed out, like, what's happening? I've done this team a million times on other takeovers and I never had this issue. So I honestly just noticed after that she was bumping 2 heals here. Whenever a Pain Keeper heals, I've just seen 2 numbers, 10k, 2k, and I was like, okay, that 2k must be from some sort of masteries, because something wrong is happening here. So we have 35 million damage so far. We lost the rest of the poisons there, like 8 turns again. So the total damage this team should do is around 41 million damage. 19 million damage from Frozen Banshee, 3.5 from Maneater, 4.7 from Vizier, 2.8 from Pain Keeper, and 5.2 from Resin. So Resin has a pretty low damage here. If he would have more defense, he would definitely do a lot of more damage. But yeah, guys, that was all for this video. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you all soon on another video. Till then, peace out.